Kashtira Adventure Scareclaw. That is the deck we're going to be talking about today in this video. It is a deck I'm really excited about after taking it to our locals and giving it a good try. I think it has really high meta viability in the future, and it's really hidden and underrated right now and pretty much unknown as, of course, the format just started. But here's the deck list. You can find these on my personal Twitter at NelscorpYGO. And I try and give like a little brief summary of what I think of the deck over here, you know, in terms of like a star rating. But I guess the most important one here is meta viability, which I gave a full 5 stars, because I definitely think this has potential moving forward. And it's really just cool and interesting because it's a different way to play Kashtira that's not just summoning a Rise Heart and relying on blocking out zones. This deck is versatile in that you can do a lot of different end boards, you can get a feel of what your opponent's playing, and then especially if you get hand trapped or stopped in certain places, you can always extend it to other areas. But moving on, first things I want to show is just basically a quick replay, had the real identity or idea of how or why this deck works, and that how Kashtira cards on their own can connect to the other engines. So in this we got a basic 2-card combo. Not very hard to achieve, Kashtira Unicorn plus Kashtira Scareclaw. So we can grab Birth, and then we can normal summon the Scareclaw Kashtira with Birth's effect. And then this will let us go into the Scareclaw Link one, which this card's pretty crazy because it can search a field spell. It can search Phobia, which in turn searches Vista Starfrost. So I didn't get the field spell in this replay, but we skipped a step. But the Phobia search Vista Starfrost, and it's important to pop our Light Heart out of our hand, and then we summon Dracosack to summon 2 tokens. And so these tokens we get to use our best friend, Cherubini. And if we know what Cherubini does, it sends Water Enchantress of the Temple, which will get us to our Adventure Engine. So I guess the weaknesses of this line is that, yeah, it's pretty weak versus Nibiru, and pretty weak versus some hand traps. But, that's fine. This is more a demonstration of the theory behind their deck. There are obvious certain ways, and you have to evaluate based on your hand, how you want to go about this. But then we get right, and then we summon back the Scareclaw Light Heart after we activate the right. So then Fateful can trigger, and so Draco back, and then we can switch up with Griffin Rider. And then this is pretty much the end board state that I just want to illustrate, how 2 Kashtira cards can lead to all of these. And so this can obviously branch into a few different things. We can go Starfrost and the token for Baron de Fleur, and then we can go, 3 things for a 3 Material Appaloosa, and then if we have another level 7, we can go into our Shangi era. So say we had any of the Kashtira extenders, we just go ahead and banish a Kashtira from our graveyard and overlay into our Shangi era, which during the standby phase will get us another Kashtira monster. Or if we have Rise Heart in our hand, then we summon Rise Heart, and then we do that zone locking and go into a Rise Heart. So that's all well and good. Alright, and then I got a second replay of why all these Scareclaw cards. Because we're playing the Twin Soul, we're playing Heart, and we're playing a few of the little ones. So this test hand is really, it's a 3-card combo of what if you already have your Rite of Aramisha in your hand. So in this play, we summon Unicorn, get the Birth, and then do the same thing as we did before. Get the Phobia, get all the adventure cards out of our deck, and then we go into a Starfrost. Now the problem with this line is really it does we could play around hand traps so easily by summoning our Griffin Rider, but we use Birth, summon back our Scareclaw, we pop our Light Heart because we need to get this zone empty, make our Dracosack, get our tokens for Cherubini. So we have to make sure our board's empty to do this full combo, but that obviously makes us weak to hand traps. But again, it's up to you as the player to evaluate. And then Cherubini can send any level 3, so we send one of the little Scareclaws. And so then we can continue as we go, summon back our Light Heart because we control our Vista Starfrost. And then we link 3 monsters for the Tri-Heart. And so Tri-Heart, we get to, well, first we can make a Baron in this board through the Starfrost and the token, because after we use this effect to special the level 3 Scareclaw out of the graveyard, we're locked into Scareclaw for the rest of the turn. So that's important to make that first. And then we have our level 7 here, so we have if we have another level 7 extender, we can use our Griffin to make the Shangi era, and then we summon this. And so yeah, we get the Heart, we summon the Heart, and we search the Twin Saw. Twin Saw, very simple, it's just Icarus attack. But I think it's very important as the Kashtira player to really try and amplify your end boards, because a lot of the end boards are very predictable and they're very weak. So the more ways that you can, you know, put an Omni negate, put an interaction on the field that's not Shangri-La, that's not a Rise Heart, the better are you off. And a good point of this deck is that I went 4-0 at the locals where I played it, but this was still under the old ban list, so I had to play versus full power Telement in the last round to, you know, go 4-0 at that locals, and I did win. And in the final game, in game 3, the difference maker was I had this card and I had Appaloosa on the field. So that was the difference. I had the standard Kashtira end board, but I also had Twin Saw and the Appaloosa, which means that the cards he needed to use to back my board, they were not possible since I had those two extra interaction. Where if I didn't, I would probably have lost, to be fair. And then just the last replay I wanted to demonstrate is just, you know, you don't have to go like full wombo combo. You can just, you know, very simple, get the Reich Phobia, and just get Reichheart off it, because we're going to birth back. We're going to summon that under the link, get Icarus attack, do the standard Kashtira play. Again, just giving us the extra piece of interaction here with our Scareclaw Twin Saw. So I guess we'll look at the card by card and we'll have overall analysis of the deck, and then maybe we'll jump in to do some test hands, or just do what I think. At the time I played this deck, again, I only had 2 Wraiths off. So I played a Polar Rhino just because Polar Rhino can search the Telement's Kashtira, because I really want to make sure my set rotation is as strong as possible. But I have a third one of this now, so I definitely played 3. There's definitely an argument just to play 3 of this, just because it is so good. My ratio is a bit weird. Like, I could, in theory, play 3 of this. I could play, like, more level 3s. I could play more Rykart even. These cards all feel great to draw. Maybe the Adventure Engine is a trap, and I shouldn't play it, because, you know, sometimes you really want to normal summon off the birth and activate the effect. Because if you do that, then you can't write later on in the turn. So, important to keep that in mind, that this build is far from optimized, but I always, when I play these decks, I get a pretty good feeling of what will be good in the future, and if I think something is strong, then I'm pretty confident in that it will be strong. And this is this deck felt like that. It just had extenders and potential. So moving forward, the ratios of these monsters can all definitely change, and same with the Adventure Engine. We'll try and revisit this deck again, because I think it is very, very, very good, as I said. So yeah, would play 3, can play 3. Again, Pellerino is just funny because you can search that, or Starfrost. Versatile, just how powerful field spells are becoming. 3 Birth, very important, because you kind of want to open this, because when you're using the Kashtira cards as combo cards, Birth is one of the most important ones to have. Because then, if things go wrong, you can just go, okay, activate Birth, summon my guy, and then I have Rise Heart in my hand. Same with Theosis. I don't max on Theosis, but I really should. Like, this card keeps performing just ridiculously. There are, you know, rare times that you do brick and, like, don't draw any level 7 Kashtira, which is really just dependent on can you make a Shangri-La to make your Theosis live. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. Playing Rodine here just because it can search both Reichheart and Rise Heart. And you don't need to play this. You can play take this out. Same way with Foolish Burial. I just played Foolish Burial because obviously it sends Enchantress, but it also sends one of level 3 Scareclaws in case I just want to make my Tri-Heart live. You don't need to play this. Same with 7-Star Sword. I didn't really have access to Prosperity. I probably would play Prosperity over this to make this like a whole lot more consistent. Although I don't like turning off talents to be able to draw. Just my personal preference. So I guess in theory this could just be any level 7 extender in the game. But I like it. It's been going well for me. I'm just more of that kind of player who just likes to draw cards. I like Omni Negates and I like drawing cards. I think, yeah, as I said, Kashtira, you really need to be cognizant of Book of Eclipse. You need to be aware of Nibiru, and you need to be aware of these thrusting cards and talents cards, because you're very easily punished if you do the standard Kashtira end boards. You can be very easily punished by 1 card. So it may not be the safest way to, you know, if everyone keeps playing Nibiru and heaps of hand traps, these kind of builds might suck because, you know, you might go for these intricate combos, you just get punished. But layering interaction against, you know, board wipes like Eclipse, like Lava Golem, like Scareclaw Twin Saw, really good. Like even Lava Golem, it's like you can't Lava Golem everything. Sphere mode, you maybe can. Sphere mode gets almost everything. But like, if you search this and you have at least one Scareclaw, it could be, you know, save you the entire match. In terms of the extra deck, I guess the only like situational card would be BLS. This card is really good. It's very synergistic with pretty much the entire deck. Sometimes your opponent's waiting for you to XYZ summon, and sometimes you can just slam this, like, just because he just needs 3 monsters, different names. You can like use the adventure token. You can just like don't even need to like summon 2 level 7s. You can have like 1 and 2 other things. You can use the Scareclaw Light Heart summon back out of the graveyard. Like, it's very easy to accumulate the materials for this and catch your opponents off guard. Very strong moving into the next format because a lot of things target, especially Kashtira, they target a lot. If you can get the attack boost on this card, very difficult for them to out. They essentially have to tunnel vision into Zeus, which sometimes you can just handle just fine. Alright, and then I'm not too sure about, again, Kashtira is pretty low play rate here in Australian locals, but you might need to double up, like keep doubling up in some of the cards just in case of enemy Diabolosis. That is a big flaw in my decks, I will admit. I don't really play things to like stop the turn 1 Diabolosis of my opponent. So I'm pretty vulnerable. I just rely on having so many threats. Like I played against Kashtira for the first time in another locals, and then I was playing a very similar deck to this, just with Punk, and I did get Diabolosis. But because my deck was like so multi-threat, especially because I had these like synchro monsters as well, they can never really choose right. Like, you have something in your extra, like between having BLS and the synchros and Big Eye and Zeus, you just have so many threats that you're able to use to like break through. So I will admit that my deck is kind of weak to Diabolosis and just my engine getting destroyed and torn apart, but that is a risk I'm willing to take. And of course, playing the level 10 synchros, because we have the right token and we have the Starfrost, as well as like the Rykart play. You know, we can go Rykart into a rival, summon back Starfrost for a 10. Baron needs no explanation. Cheng Ying has just insane synergy with Kashtira. So much synergy. It's really good. Again, so obvious. Every card vanishes. I guess probably the best friend of this card would be Rise Heart, or summoning one of these guys out of your hand, because that will trigger Cheng Ying effect to clear boards, and also its attack just gets high as well. So yeah, that's overall card by card analysis of this deck. So we'll just jump in quickly to do some test hands, and maybe just give some evaluation. I mean, this hand is just everything we need. The full combo is going to be pretty damn crazy. I mean, we would obviously start by going Unicorn into Birth. So I'm trying to think here, is it viable to say Foolish Burial of Fenrir, hold our Theosis for later? Just trying to think of the best outcome for us here. I think this just might be a pretty standard. Yeah, I think this hand we could go greedy with like the Scareclaw cards, but it's probably best not to, since we have Theosis. So we could probably just do a standard Kashtira play with a Griffin to back us up. Obviously talent would change how the hand goes based on our opponent's interaction. Okay, so you have another test hand here. This hand looks quite good as well, pretty consistent. And we'll just do one more. Again, pretty standard 2-card combo with the Adventure Engine here, very safe. In this one we get Illegal Knight as well, so we have a lot of interaction outside of our regular Kashtira plays. We've drawn both bricks, but we have our combos here, so it can actually be quite good drawing Big Bang sometimes. Get drawing Joker back though. Anyway guys, that's for today's video on Kashtira Adventure Scareclaw, or Cass. I mean, you can call it Ask, Sack, Cass, anything. But yeah, let me know down below what you think about this deck, and Ryan out. Peace out, guys.